Hey guys, it's Milmer here with another Xcode tutorial, and in this Xcode tutorial I will be teaching you how to use the debugger. Well, maybe not how to use the debugger, but probably some tips that you can help you debug your application and fix any crashes you might get. Because I get a lot of questions asked to me, I've got this error here, I've got sigbar error here, or bad access here, or something like that. And I can't really help you with that because it's very specific to your application. Although you might be following one of my tutorials, it's still very specific even within the tutorial that I made myself. So it's a bit hard for me to track down and finally work out what the actual error is. So if I give you these tips, hopefully you'll be able to fix it yourself or be able to give me a better report on what your error is actually showing. So without further ado, we'll better get going, otherwise this will be quite a long tutorial. So at the moment, if I just go to the .h here, I have a very basic table view, and in this table view I have, this is just the table view that's created by Xcode. So in this table view I have my NS mutable array, and in the .m here I make sure my array is allocated, and then in the viewDidLoad I set the array as you can see here. So, I just give my array some memory, create a temp array, give a dictionary to put into my array, January, February, March, add my dictionary to put into the array, release my dictionary, and set my array up. So that's basically it. Now, this isn't a UI table view tutorial, so I'm not going to go over this. If you want to see how to make a UI table view, go check out my tutorials. This is all to do with the debugger. Now, the debugger is basically something that when you crash, it will come up to try and help you or tell you why you've crashed or tell you what happened when you were crashing or something like that. And again, like I said, I get many people telling me that the debugger told them this or that, and it doesn't really help much. So today I've set this up and it looks like a normal application. We've got no errors, no warnings. It looks like it will run fine. So let's go run it, and we'll see if it will run fine. And I'm reckoning you're guessing already, and yes, it has crashed straight away. And you can see our debugger here, which is what's popped up. We've gone to this view here. I've forgotten the name of it already. Bad tutorial. Let's see if it will hover. Nope. Okay. Oh, okay, it's called the debug navigator. There you go. So it brings up this navigator here on the side. Gives me my threads and my stack of call stack. Sorry, my call stack. That's what that's called. You can see down here it's bring up the log, and it's giving you the kind of variables you have at the moment down this side, and it's giving you the actual log here, so it can tell you loads of random things that you don't even know what it says. So let me give you a quick run through of what these screens are, what it's just showing us. So first over here is the call stack. If I make this a bit bigger, you can see that we have paused on a certain thread and it's opened the thread that we've crashed on. Now, iOS is a very multi-threaded application. You can run lots of threads at the same time. I'm not really going to go over threads at the moment, but it's literally kind of like you can run different layers of code if you like. Well, not layers, but you can like split your code up and run them on different threads. I won't go into that at the moment. Anyway, as you can see, and it's crashed, and it's giving us this, it's highlighted this part of the call stack for us. Now, this is the call stack, and as you can see here, kill, which is the first thing that happens, starts at number 0. And you can see that it runs up to, oh, sorry, no, that's the last thing that happens. I'm pretty sure that's the last thing that happens, sorry about that. That's the last thing that happens, and you can see here, start at number 42 is apparently what the first thing that happens. And you can see it starts running, and basically when this exception gets thrown, which is what happened, it's the code has got the exception, which is something that's kind of broken in the code. It's throwing it out, and it says, I can't do it. I can't deal with this error. Can someone else do it for me? Can someone else fix my error for me? So it throws it out, and then it goes down this call stack until it finds someone that can fix the error. And you can see it's gone all the way down until it's reached this line here. So it's telling us that this line is the one that's broken. So that's what the call stack is telling us. And you can see that we try go here, but obviously it won't let us see the code because we haven't got it. That's why they faded out. So the only ones we have is main.im and this our actual application. So that's that. So that's the call stack. It's kind of useful sometimes. You'll see that later in the tutorial how it can be useful. So now let's look at so this doesn't really tell us anything. Sigbar, I mean, I'm not really sure what that stands for, but it happens a lot. It comes up a lot. So Sigbar doesn't really help us at all. So if we go down here and look into our log, you can see that the you can see that it's logged a load of stuff, and we don't really know what it means. But if we look through it carefully, we can see that it says like nscf constant string count is unrecognized selector. So you can see that, you know, this doesn't really help us much, so we can ignore this. But we really need to look at this and say count. Now, what do we know about count? Well, we know that we've written count here, and we know that it doesn't know what count is. So we can look back here and we can go, right, if it doesn't know what count is that because the section that we're looking at here, the section, doesn't know what count is? So if we go back to our array here, scroll all the way up, we then realise our array only has one section, which is, you know, the main bit of the thing. Apart from the dictionary, ignore that for now. You can see it only has one section, and then as we try and go past that section, we know that count doesn't exist anymore because we're inside a section, which doesn't really exist. So that's how we've kind of fixed that bit. You can see that we needed to look at this and read this a bit more and realise that count isn't accepted and it's unrecognised by the system. So this string here, which we don't know what it is, we don't own it, so it just gives us this random name, doesn't understand the method count. So if we go back here, obviously because I made this, I know what the error is. So I know that we need to just look at the array itself and not the entire section of the array. So you can see that now works. Well, it will work when we run. And just a little run through, just a little run through of this here, this side over here, I don't know what this section's called. But you can see it gives us a list of all our variables that are currently, you know, open, all our objects that are currently, you know, allocated within our application. You can see here self, which is the class of master view controller, and you can see it's got the table view controller here, you've got the detail view controller, and you've got the array. And you can see here, if we open the array, we can see we've got January, March, February. January, February, March, sorry. And you can see that this number here is 0 times 5864. Now that's what this is talking about here. So you can see 05864, and you can see here January 05864. So we know that January was the one that was playing up. Now if we ran through this step by step, we would eventually find that February would throw up, and so would March. And that's because January, if you try and go inside January, you can't, because there's no sections inside January, it's just January. So that's why it doesn't have a count function, because you can't go inside January. So that's a bit more in depth of that. So that's a little run through of that. And now if we build and run, you'll see we'll get rid of that one error, but we will crash again. And I knew we were going to crash. So you can see here we receive this thing called sigbart. Now again, I told you that would happen last time, and that still does not work. So why, you know, this isn't helping us at all. So let's again look over here. We already know what the method is, so the call stack isn't really going to help us for now. So let's go back to our log here and let's look. So we know this time it's a dictionary. See here, nscf dictionary is equal to string, and it says it's unrecognized. The dictionary does not know what this method is. And if you had multiple dictionaries, you can go again, look into yourself here, go down to your array, and you can see here it's this dictionary here. See the number? It's 6836F80, and you can see here it's the same one here. So you know it's that dictionary. So if we were to go look for that dictionary, we will know it's this dictionary here. And we are trying to read the string value from a dictionary, which we know doesn't have a string value because it has, as you can see here, a lot of other objects within the dictionary itself. So we know that doesn't work. So we'd either have to do some if statement code here to check if it's a dictionary and then go inside the dictionary, or in this case we can just delete the dictionary from the array because we don't really need it. So for now I'm just going to comment that out and delete the dictionary. So you'll see now if we build and run, we will fix that error but get another crash. And you can see here my application has actually launched. That's the first time it's launched, but it's crashed. You can see nothing's working. And as you can see, we have now gone straight to the application main, this thing here. And again, I get a lot of comments telling me I've come to this place with this method. This does not help at all. And you'll find out why. Well, one, because we don't own this code. We didn't write this code. We don't know why it's crashing. And also, the crash didn't happen here. So that's one thing. And also, you'll see that here, program receives signal EXS or EXC bad access. Now, this is a different error to SIGBART, quite obviously. And what this generally means is that you've released or tried to, get rid of, well, basically you've released an object that is not allocated. So by that I mean when you create an object, you can either create it and alloc init. So, my object alloc init, and then you can do it that way. And then if you do that, you have to release it. Or you can create an object like my object with data or something. I'll show you here. If we go into our master detail view controller.m, you don't have to copy this application, by the way, but as you can see here, we've created a dictionary, and we've just done ns with. We haven't allocated or init. Like here, you can see with alloc init, but with a dictionary we haven't alloc init. So you can see down here, I've released my dictionary and I've released my array. And as I just said, you have to release something if you alloc it. If you just give it some data, you don't actually alloc any memory to it. Sorry, you don't release it. So generally, that's what EXS bad access means. That's generally what it means. So if you have that, you're just going to have to go trawling through your code until you find that one object that that you released by accident. And as you can see, the debugger down here doesn't help us at all. The log doesn't help us. So unfortunately, we're just going to have to look through our code for that one. So as you can see, if I just delete that now, you'll see that it'll give us a warning because our dictionary isn't used. You can see that our application will run completely fine now. You can see we've got no errors, and we'll go over here, and you can see, my application has quit. And this time I don't know why. Okay, so you can see here we've received SIGBART at the main. Again, this call stack doesn't help us at all. It just, we click here, oh, don't know what that is, don't know what that is, don't know what that is. So the only code we've got is here. We've got SIGBART instead of XS bad, EXC bad access. Sorry, I can't say that. You can see we've got a different signal here that we've received. You can see the log's given us something, ns constant string again, doesn't understand what string value is. This object, unfortunately, I don't know what that object is, it's not telling me. So we're in a pretty bad state at the moment. We don't have a clue where we've crashed in our code, it just comes straight to here. We can't modify this, otherwise it will break. We don't know what objects crashed, we don't know what this string is, we don't know where this string is in our code. We're completely stuck, basically. And again, this doesn't help. So I'm just going to give you a quick tip now that will tell you exactly where you crashed in your code every time. Well, most of the time, hopefully. So you'll see a difference when we run again. So all we need to do is use something called a breakpoint. Now, over here, if you look, there's a little navigator thing called the breakpoint navigator. If you go to here, you can create breakpoints throughout your entire code. And basically what a breakpoint does is it pauses the application wherever you set it. So if I click here down the gutter here, and you see I click there, it will tell me I've added a breakpoint in the main.m file at line 14. That means the application will run, and when it gets to this line, it will pause and let me look at my code. And then I can click play down here, see this play button, or step over instructions or methods to carry on with my code. So this is a great way for me to see where I'm getting errors. If I know it's around a certain method, I will pause before the method. if it doesn't crash. I'll click play, and when it crashes, I know it's after this breakpoint. That doesn't really help in this case because we don't know where we're crashing. So we can use something called an exception breakpoint because we know we're getting an exception here. So if we go down here to the plus right at the bottom, you can see that we can add 2 breakpoints. We are focusing on the exception breakpoint. So you can see here we can add an exception breakpoint. This is the language we're going to use, so we're going to have all languages. We want to know about every error. This means whether it stops when the application gets rid of the when it gets rid of the exception, so it throws it. So on that line where it goes, I don't know what to do, and throws it away, so it goes up the call stack. That's basically where it starts, and on catch is where it ends. Pardon me. So it will break where the application catches it. So in this case, it's broke here because it's caught the error and stopped here. So we want on throw, so we know where it started, and we don't need an action. We don't need any options. So we can click done there, and that's all we need to do. So remember, it's just plus down here, exception breakpoint, and then done basically. So we can delete that extra one there. So now, if we stop and run again, you'll see we'll stop in a different place. We'll stop where the application crashes. So you can see, I'm just going to click January here. Oh, we're in a completely different place now. We've got the same thing logged down here, as you can see. But as you can see down here on this other side here, we've got the detail view controller. And we can see, hopefully, if we find throughout all these objects, hopefully we can find the number we want here. Maybe not, but we'll see. Oh, here it is. Nope, wrong one. Maybe not. Close to there, that's 588. Maybe 587. Anyway, that doesn't really matter. If you can be bothered to trawl through here, if it's really necessary, but we don't really need this section to help us debug this, because we know that this line here is the one that's breaking. So we've got somewhere. We know exactly where we are now. We're not in the main.m, and we know that this is breaking. We also know that NSF constant string doesn't understand string value. So let's go back up here. We go, okay, this is not understanding this. That's what we know, because we know this is now a string according to what this is logging here. We know this is unrecognized. So this it doesn't like. So we've now got to work out why it doesn't like that. So we're going to have to go up here, and you can see our call stack, it's extended. We've got more options than we had last time. We've got number 4, which is where we're currently at now. Now, if we go further up the call stack, we get to see who called that method. So you can see we go up here, we see that set detail item here, it called this method, but we go, that doesn't really help us. So let's go further up. You can see that, oh, we go into the main master view controller here. You can see we've got this self down here we've got now, and we can look into other stuff. Oh, and it turns out here's our object here. You can see January is our object that's failing, which makes sense because we clicked on January. So we know it's January. If that helped us in any way, it doesn't really. So you can see here, master view controller. You can see this is the thing that's breaking. We know January was passed in. We know January is a string. And hold on, I'm asking for the string value of a string. Surely shouldn't that just be the string itself? Which would make sense. So we've just solved that now. We know that this is passing in a string, which it doesn't understand the value string value, because string value of a string is just itself. So that will just break. So all we can do here, as we just get rid of string value. So that was a relatively simple one, I know, but I'm just going through it the complicated way so you know how to fix it later when you get a more complicated error. So now if you see, if we can build and run again, you'll see that if we click January, it will now set our detail item to January without any crashing, and same with February and March. So I hope you enjoyed that debugger tutorial. I hope it helped you in solving most of your errors that you get without having to send me messages, and hopefully you'll become more experienced in how to use the debugger and how to fix your own errors that you might get. So remember, always look at what the debugger is telling you. Don't just get scared by it. Remember to not release an object that's not allocated. So if it's allocated, release it. If it's not allocated, don't release it, otherwise you'll get an error, as we saw. Remember to check what you're sending into parameters, because sometimes it might not work. Don't forget about this call stack over here, it can help you sometimes, and don't forget to use the debugger again down here. And most importantly, don't forget this exception breakpoint, because it can help you greatly in where your error actually happened. So I know this is quite a long tutorial, guys, but sorry about that. Stop there, guys. Yeah, so again, don't forget this exception breakpoint. Very important in actually finding where your error happened, and hopefully you'll be better at finding your errors now. So again, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe. Don't forget to click on some of the adverts in my videos, and see you next time.